Hi, I'm here in the White Mountains, and on today's program, we're going to see what kind of fun you can have in the snow. So welcome.
It's cold outside. Got to go but baby, it's cold outside. This evening has been hoping that you drop in. I'll hold your hands, they're just like ice.
Do you like the winter time? I love it when it's cold outside. It always gives me a chance to get caught up on my reading. I brought a great book to share today. It's called The Snowy, Blowy Winter by Bob Raxa. Snowy, blowy, get a lot of wind up here in the wintertime. Windows are glowy. Everyone's inside. There's the cat and the dog. Frosty, freezy, stuffy, and sneezy. A lot of people get sick in the wintertime. Strappy, zippery. You have to put a lot of clothes on if you're going to go outside so you don't get too cold. Icy and slippery. You can always go sledding down a hill. That's a really fun thing to do on a snowy day. Angels are lovely. Sidewalks are shovelly. It's really hard work to shovel off your sidewalk. Breathy, nippy. Looks like a fun snowman. Cocoa is sippy. Got the cocoa with the marshmallows in it. I like that kind too. Rosy, cozy. Looks like they're catching up on their reading too. Everyone's dozy. There's the dog and the cat and a little child, and other animals sleep under the snow. Bears and snakes and a lot of things hibernate. So everybody's sleeping. Messy, gooey, melty, and chewy. That's another fun thing to do on a cold day is make cookies in the oven. Seedy. That's another nice thing that you can do is put out seeds for the birds in the wintertime. I do that. The birds really appreciate it. Squirrely. Look at all the squirrels up in that tree. Will spring come early? It must be the groundhog. 6 more weeks of snowy, blowy, glowy, frosty, freezy, stuffy, sneezy, strappy, zippery, icy, slippery, lovely, shovelly, breathy, nippy, sippy, rosy, cozy, dozy, messy, gooey, melty, chewy, seedy, squirrely winter. So all those words describe winter. And this book has a very cool recipe for snow ice cream. It's real easy to make, and you actually scoop up snow and make ice cream with that. So that's a really cool thing to do too. And now I'm going to show you how to make your very own ice candle. It's really easy to make an ice candle, and you probably have all the stuff hanging around your house to make one. First of all, you need a few containers. You can use different sizes. I thought it would be fun to make a square one. You can use a bigger bowl, smaller bowl. Just keep in mind, the bigger the bowl, the longer it will take to freeze. So I'm going to use those. You also need some kind of stick, or I thought it would be fun to use little wooden skewers that I got at the store. You could use a pencil. You just need something to hold the little inner bowl inside the containers that I just showed you. You also need little tea lights. I got the ones with the metal cups on the bottom. I like those because that way if it burns all the way down, it's still in a little metal container. You need a barbecue lighter or match. Barbecue lighters are good because you have much less chance of burning your fingers. When you go to light your ice candles, make sure an adult helps you light them. Be really careful with the fire. And you also need, I brought a hole punch, but you need to poke holes in the sides of the little cups. I brought little small drink cups that I'm going to put inside the middle, and you're going to poke a hole in the side. So you need to use a knife or a hole punch or some scissors. Also have an adult help you with that too, so that you don't poke yourself, because you got to be kind of careful when you're poking the holes. All right, let's get started. So I have these different containers here. And the first thing that you need to do is poke a hole in the side. And like I said, I already had these poked in, but you can use a hole punch, or like I said, just a little pocket knife or scissors. I'll just make a little small hole, and you're going to put a skewer or pencil through that, whatever kind of stick you have hanging around. And when you poke the hole, you want to make sure that you line up the hole, make it straight through. If you make it at like an angle or something, it's not going to sit evenly in the middle of the candle. So get it as straight as you can through the middle, and you can have an adult help you with that too. So that one's ready. And I have another one. And I always like to try different interesting things, so I thought it would be fun to just stand one of these little cups in the bottom of another container and see what that looked like. Okay, so we've got that one. Now, one other thing I want to point out: when you're lining these up in the freezer, or if you set them outside, if it gets cold enough here to freeze them outside, you want to make sure that the little cup in the middle is kind of centered in the middle of the container, because if you get it too close to the side, it's going to make the side of the candle a little thinner. So get it as close to the middle as you can. And for this one, I thought I would just stand it in the bottom and see what happens. So we'll see how that looks. So let's fill these up with water. That's the last thing that you need. And you want to pour about a third full, whatever container it is, fill it about a third full. And then you want to put your little cup in there, because you see it's going to float all around. So you're going to pour some water in that cup too. And that will kind of balance it. And then pour a little more water in around the side. Okay, also keep in mind that the water is going to expand a little bit as it freezes. So perfect. It's right in the middle. It's all nice and balanced. I'm going to set that one aside. Same thing with this one, and like I said, these will all look different. So again, start with filling it up about a third of the way. Okay, put the little cup in there, put a little water in there, and then fill up the rest of the outside. You have to be kind of careful. It's only water though, so if it spills, it's no big deal. You can just wipe it up. That's why I always keep paper towels around on hand too. Paper towels are good when you're doing any craft, just in case something happens that you weren't expecting. Okay, same thing. It's balanced nicely in the middle. You got a little ring around the outside. I'm going to set this one over and do the last one. Like I said, this one I'm not even going to balance, so if you can't find a stick, you can always make one like this too. And now if you do the one where you just stand it in the bottom, you're only going to be able to fill it up so full before the little cup starts to float. There you go. And you can just kind of eyeball that. Very good. Set that back here. And the other thing that you can do that I brought, you can put a couple of drops of food coloring in there and make it a colored candle. I thought that would be fun. So let's I'm going to put one drop of purple in here and kind of swirl it around. Don't need too much. And then you can always just grab another skewer and just kind of mix it in there. So we'll see what that comes out like. Okay, got that. And I'm gonna set that one aside. And I think we'll do blue in this one, so it'll look really cold. So just put a drop of food coloring in there too. I could make green or pink ones for Valentine's Day, or I mean, you can really kind of use your imagination with that. It's kind of fun to just see how things turn out. Actually, I'm going to pick up the little cup when I mix this around. So you can see the blue water in there. So this will be really fun to see how these turn out. Okay, and now the next thing that you need is something really cold. You can put them in your freezer if you have room, or it gets really cold up here, so you can just set them out on your porch. Just make sure you set them somewhere where the dog won't drink out of them or they'll get knocked over. You know, just set them in a safe spot that's out in the open and just wait until the next morning and we'll see what it looks like. So here's the 3 candles. I brought them back in. Actually, I ran them under a little bit of warm water just because that takes a few minutes, so I didn't want you to have to stand and watch that. So when you run the warm water, that separates the candle out from the mold. I'm going to set that there. And I want to show you something too, because this candle didn't come out perfectly. The cup kind of scooted over to the side, but you know what? It'll still be pretty. So we'll take that out just to show you that things don't have to be perfect to still be really cool. Okay. Okay, and here's the blue one. Okay. And there's the blue one. The blue one turned out really dark and pretty. Okay, so the last thing you have to do, we're almost finished, is take 3 tea lights. And like I said, have an adult help you with this so that you don't burn yourself or anything else. I'm gonna light the little tea lights. I'm gonna drop it down in there. Hopefully. Go. Okay, there's all the beautiful lights. I got a purple one, a blue one, and a clear one. And let's turn down the lights and see how cool they look. So these are all finished, and you can see how pretty they turned out. And it doesn't take very much time to make one either, especially if it's cold in the wintertime. There's that and that one. See, it still shows really nicely. And now let's go see what kind of fun things we can do outside in the snow. One of my favorite things to do in the snow is go snowshoeing. It's really easy. Anyone can do it. If you can walk, you can snowshoe. And it's just kind of fun. There's all kinds of trails up here. Pole Knoll's always really pretty, and they kind of groom that trail for snowshoes. It's really quiet. You can see wildlife sometimes, and it's just a fun thing to go out and do in the snow. I also understand there's a place up here that you can go skiing and snowboarding, so let's go see that too. I'm up here at Sunrise Ski Resort, and I'm here with Timmer today. Thanks for taking time to come and talk to us.
Anytime.
And I see there's a lot of people skiing and taking lessons, so what kind of stuff do you have to do for kids up here?
Just about anything you want to do in the snow. We have a full-service daycare on site.
Oh, that sounds good.
They do indoor and outdoor play, so even if they don't do a ski package, they do outdoor, they do sledding, they build snowmen, and things like that. We have group lesson packages that start at 5 years old.
Okay.
Through the daycare, 5 and 6 year olds can do that. It's all day and half day packages. It includes the daycare plus a 90-minute group lesson.
Okay.
And then for 7 to 12 year olds, we offer all day and half day ski and snowboard lessons.
So you can do either one? Whatever.
Either or, whatever
Okay.
you want to do.
Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah, once the lessons are over, any lift tickets that we do up here are good for all day.
Okay.
The lifts operate from 9 to 4.
Okay.
Our group lessons start at 10 o'clock and 12:30. The all day goes from 10 until 2:30, and then the half days are from 10 to 12, and then from 12:30 to 2:30.
Okay. And is it a good idea to call ahead and make a reservation for a lesson?
At this time, we don't do any reservations.
Oh, okay.
It's
Good to
all
know.
first come, first serve. On the holiday breaks, 3-day weekends, those kind of things, you want to be here early, 8 a.m. to 8:30. Otherwise, you know, if you're here on weekdays, it's like having your own private ski area. We encourage everybody to come up on weekdays because
Okay.
it's a great time to come up. And if you're here by 9:30, we can get you into the 10 o'clock group lessons, no problem.
Okay, sounds good. It looks like there's all kinds of fun stuff going on around here. Now I also understand that you guys can make your own snow.
Oh yeah. Right now we're the only resort in Arizona that has snowmaking.
Okay.
And it does. It gets us going early in the season, gives us better conditions early in the year. And it's a really neat process to watch. We have 2 different types of snow guns.
Okay.
We have one
a gun?
Guns.
Okay.
We have air water guns, which actually, it looks like a fire nozzle. It's a big metal pipe with a nozzle on it. And we put high pressure air and water into it, and it blows the water out in a mist, and it freezes before it comes back down to the ground. And then we use our snow cats and the groomers to push the snow around.
Okay, so you don't make the snow all over the place. You just make it in a couple of spots.
We make great big piles. We call them whales. And it's
That's a good name.
Yeah, it's a big pile of snow, and then we use our groomers to spread them out where we need it.
Okay, can we go look at one of the guns?
Actually,
or
we can. There's
we just
one
see
that's sitting right over here. It's
Okay.
actually, I mentioned the air water guns. This one is called a fan gun.
Okay.
We only have to put water into it and power. It's got its own onboard air compressor.
So it's all in one.
And those things are fun to watch because it
Okay.
looks like a big barrel with a fan in it.
Huh.
So,
Can we go take a look at that
Yeah,
real
we
quick?
can go look at
okay,
that.
sounds
Yeah.
good. So it actually looks like one of those cannons you could fire a person out of. It's so big.
almost. It's actually back in the bottom down there. It's got a big fan in the bottom.
Okay.
And then these rings up here, I don't know if you can see
Oh,
them
yeah,
here.
it looks like
They
little
have-
nozzles.
Those are the water nozzles. And that's what these valves here operate those different rings. And as you open these, more water comes out
Oh.
and it makes more snow.
Okay, so you can kind of control how much you want to
You
make?
do. And
okay.
well, and it's more than that. It's dependent on temperature. When
Okay.
it's colder, we can spray more water, makes more snow. When it's warmer, the more water it puts out, the colder it has to be. So then you start to shut them down
Oh,
so that you're
okay.
still making snow and not just spraying water
okay,
out.
well, yeah, that would
and
probably
that's
not be
and
good.
that's what all of these valves here do.
Okay.
And that's actually, people have a real big misconception about man-made snow. You hear all the time that man-made snow is hard and it's not as nice as natural snow. And that's really a misconception because you can blow the lightest, driest powder you've ever seen out of one of these guns.
If you're good at it.
It's just not very efficient.
Oh, okay.
It's not an efficient use of the machinery.
Okay.
Because most of the time when you're blowing snow out of one of these machines, it's early in the season and you want to get coverage. So you want to make wetter snow, stuff that you can make a snowball out of.
Okay.
Because then it packs in better and it lasts longer.
Okay.
Like now up here at Sunrise, the snow that we have now, anything that we get in December or January, it'll be here easily until February.
Okay.
That even if we get no more snow at all, we'll still have good ski and snowboard conditions until February. Our mountain here, it faces directly north.
Well,
And
that's
so
what
it
makes it good.
holds the snow just incredibly.
Wow. Yeah, because I can tell that the snow's real crisp and squeaky, but it doesn't feel that cold here at all.
It doesn't, and that's Arizona skiing. Anytime the sun's out, it feels warm. It doesn't matter what the thermometer says.
Cool.
Like right now, I think it's in the 40s. So if we were down in town it would be fairly chilly. But up here, when they're, we're this high up with the sun shining, it feels warm.
Feels really nice.
Even though the thermostat says it's cold out.
Cool. And now I have one more question. Is that big pile of snow up the hill right there, is that one of the whales you were talking about?
Yes, you can see those are whales that they actually blew last night. That's one night's worth of snowmaking.
Oh, okay. That's cool to know.
And it actually was not extremely cold last night. So, I mean, even when it's not very cold out, they can still get quite a bit of snow out of those machines.
And then now they'll come and get the snow with the snow cat, like a tractor on ice kind of thing?
Yeah, it looks like a big tank. It's got big tracks on it with a plow blade in the front, and they'll push that snow around where we need it. And this snow up here is actually, that's inside our terrain park.
Okay.
And they'll push that snow out to help build the jumps and the other features in the terrain park.
Okay. And do they have to keep doing that for the terrain park?
We try to keep them making the snow as long as we can in the terrain park. The terrain park uses just a tremendous amount of snow because the more snow we have, the more features we can build, the more creative we can be with it.
Okay.
And then so also during the course of the season, as we get more natural snowfall, that gives us more snow to be able to make more stuff.
Cool. Oh, it looks really fun. So I have to say I haven't been this far up the slope ever, so I might have to take ski lessons someday.
We can do that.
I know.
We'll do that.
I'm a big chicken. So anyway, thanks so much for taking time to talk with us. It was really interesting. I learned all kinds of cool stuff, and I'll see you back at the library. That was so cool at the ski resort. I think I might have to take a lesson myself one of these days. I brought some books from the library to share with you. The first book I brought is Small, Medium, and Large. And this is a fun book. It doesn't have any words in it, but it's about some really cool Christmas presents that a little girl gets. So you'll just have to read the rest of the book to find out what the story is, but it's really fun. I also brought Cross Country Cat. This is a fun book about a Siamese cat who actually has to kind of ski to save himself on some little skis that his family made for him. So that's a really fun book too. That's by Mary Calhoun. I also brought The Snow Blew In, and this is a fun book about a little cat who's waiting for her friend to come and visit. And that's by Diane Curtis Regan. And that's a fun book too. I also brought A Bed for the Winter. This is a beginning reader book, but it talks about how some animals hibernate or they kind of sleep all winter. Some animals sleep all winter and some sleep some, and then they get up some too. So a lot of toads will stay asleep. Bears usually sleep all winter. So all kinds of animals, you find out what they do during the winter time. I also brought a couple of nonfiction books. This is called Arctic and Antarctic. This is a really fun eyewitness book, and talks about the North and the South Pole because different things live at the different poles. So if you look through this book, as usual, they always have really cool photographs. There's albatross. They kind of fly around the North and South Pole. Penguins, which live at the South Pole, not the North Pole. So all kinds of cool pictures. Walruses. So if you look at this book, if you like nonfiction, this is a great book. So that's Arctic and Antarctic. And the last book that I brought is a really cool book called Snowflake Bentley. And it's about a guy who took photographs of snowflakes, if you can imagine that. That must be a really hard thing to do. So this just kind of talks about his childhood and how he became interested in snowflakes. And he showed them on a screen. And then at the end of the book, this is really cool, there's some of the actual photographs that he took of snowflakes. So I thought that was a really interesting book too. Well, I hope you thought of some things to do next time it snows outside. I'll see you next time. Bye.
Adventures with Books has been paid for in part by the Show Low Library Friends. If you'd like to become a member of the Show Low Library Friends, please call 532-4070.